Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in little clothes. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up!
One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call the president.
It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard for your Monday night. Big thanks to Greenie taking us through this evening. Paulie, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, very excited. Good start.
No,
we'll leave it at that, guys. Thanks for coming.
I ate at a local, all-you-can-eat place around here.
I didn't know you were doing that well.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah. And I was just midway through a burp when because I was like, you know when you're in a buffet and you're like, I probably shouldn't have another plate, but you have another plate because you paid for it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have had that other plate.
It's a bit of quantity meets quality when it's all you can eat. You're like, oh, this is disgusting, but if I have 4 plates of it, it's perfectly fine. And now, because Jenny Jizzing wasn't available, we are joined by Casey Cumming. How you going, Casey? You're a local illustrator / many people would probably know you, much of the way I came across your art, for lack of a better word. Shit Adelaide. You've done a lot of artwork for those guys.
Yeah, here and there.
Yep.
It's come up through there, and there was calendars and all sorts of strange little bits and pieces. Colouring book.
A big theme that seems to run through a lot of your work is nostalgic South Australian icons.
Yep,
Would
definitely.
that be safe to say?
Well, I think just nostalgia in general, but I found that people really love the South Australian nostalgia specifically, because I guess you can't really just find that everywhere. So, yeah, for
awesome.
sure.
Now, you have a show coming up this week to your first ever exhibition. How freaked out are you? How much time have you had to yourself over this weekend getting ready?
I have been getting ready in advance a lot because I'm just that kind of person, and lined the whole way with all these pictures over the weeks, framing them, and I've gone in there today and set it all up and spent many hours drinking coffee and stressing and getting everything hung slightly crooked. But I'm ready.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've got to say, we quite often will have a guest in to pick for the Guest Choice Special their 10 favourite movies. Mm-hmm. Yours is one of the first lists when I'm like, what is wrong with you? So I'll put it to you. What is wrong with you?
I think I've just become incredibly desensitized to the weirdness of the world, so I think I need more and more extreme forms of bizarre things to intrigue me. Now,
Paulie, what have you been up to when it comes to viewing stuff this week?
You know what? Again, being a contemporary show about to talk about contemporary movies, I watched the first Mission Impossible for the first time. Because I never had a care for them, and then me and my wife were going, let's. She's like, we should watch them. Let's watch them. So we started with number 1.
Do you know what you get as a trophy after watching the first Mission Impossible?
What's that?
You get some Limp Bizkit and some John Woo in the second one. So
see, that's the thing, and
you also get to regurgitate into your own mouth.
Yeah. Oh man, it's a very weird. That and True Lies got some parallels to it.
True Lies is a good film, actually.
That's part of your Charlton Heston love.
True Lies is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but Charlton Heston plays his boss for 2 minutes.
Does.
It's the only time you'll ever get a caliber actor of that much doing.
Got an eye patch in it.
Yeah,
it's pretty much Nick Fury. What was that burpee?
Yep.
I'll just ask that you burp directly into the mic. This is a quality show.
I apologise. Apart from that, today it's all been about I don't care, and at all about Super Bowl or American football, but I do care about the fact that the trailers get dumped every time, and also the ads.
Yep.
I'm not really loving the dude.
No, that was pretty upsetting for any Coen Brothers fan. But the thing is, everyone's blaming Bridges, but really, the Coen Brothers are right in on that because they own the characters.
Oh,
so.
yeah, definitely.
And what I love is it's not only just a rehash of the dude, but it's also Sex and the City crossover, because that's what all fans of that film want, is a crossover with Sex and the City.
Exactly. So we got to see a little bit more of Toy Story 4 today. Yep. Looking better. Key
and Peele featuring heavily once again in the trailer of this one.
We got to see Hobbs and Shaw, which I'm just sure that you just...
It looks like if I had a wet dream on top of the script of Tango and Cash, is the way I would sell that movie to anyone.
And now I don't want to see it at all.
Well, you're going to have to watch it, because when it wins 17 Oscars next year...
and my personal favourite, we got a little bit more of Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. A bit of a teaser for that. Looking forward to it. And also the longer trailer for Us, his other film that's coming out.
Yep.
So, yeah, good stuff. I would also, anyone that's into Guillermo del Toro, he's got a new movie coming out called Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. That looks amazing. So, some good stuff coming up this year.
Awesome. It is 1997. Sorry, let me take that again. It is 1997 here on Dave's Video Graveyard.
Front take, coming at you right now.
All the hits that get you in the bits. It is... tonight the theme is playing volleyball down on the foreshore. Good times. Now, I left Swoop's Apple Eyes off because you recently let me know not to play that song ever.
It's a really bad song. Something about the video clip used to creep me out a bit.
It's very like you went out and bought an editing suite that had all these built-in
100%.
things. And it's like, all right, it's basically it's
or
a
like
modern
the
day
Investigator Science Centre, how you could be like on the moon, that kind of thing.
It's more so it would be the modern day equivalent of if you released an Instagram video with every filter they have all at once.
There's a video that reminds me of that's on. It's called Everything Is Terrible.
Right.
The website, and it's just a family video of them on a magic carpet, and they've like superimposed around the world behind them, and it's playing
please tell me it's A Whole New World from Aladdin.
No, it's that Steppenwolf song.
Born to Be Wild?
Like to be well. But it's like real slowed down, like a cover of it, but it's really weird. But
wow, that sounds magical.
It's so good.
Well, because I feel like the people that made the Swoop Apple Eyes music video really thought they were making Epic by Faith No More. They're like, it's exactly the same.
I think they're like Chunky Custard trying to hit the top 40.
Very much so. But,
oh my God, I just looked up Everything Is Terrible. That looks amazing.
I'm surprised you don't know of it with the show like this.
Oh, how very dare you. Speaking of very, very terrible, though, your first choice. We're putting it up first. This is almost like an obligation that we have to talk about this film because it was number one on your list. This is a highlight of me being a grumpy old man.
Yep.
I never even laughed at this film because of how bad it was. It just annoyed me, top to bottom. Tell us what you've chosen first.
I have chosen Tommy Wiseau's 2006 masterpiece, The Room.
Wow.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, Dave.
I just feel sorry for anyone named Mark. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Because even I have been guilty of just saying it, forcing it into a conversation.
Or Lisa. I wanted to name my cat Lisa because I just wanted to be like, you're so beautiful, Lisa.
I remember hearing about this from I was on a podcast with Seth Rogen because Seth Rogen was like the guy that basically was behind.
He was,
getting it back.
And David Cross.
Yeah. So they used to do the screenings in LA, but back before it became sort of an international sort of hit. And everyone had like burned VHSs and DVDs and all that sort of stuff. And then it got a big thing. Like, I mean, there has been screenings, multiple screenings in Australia now. Like, what they're doing it at. But like, and then obviously with the Disaster Artist that came out. It's have you seen the Disaster Artist?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I had originally read the actual book by Greg Sestero. So then when I found out they were making it into a film, I got really worried because I thought James Franco was just gonna
Franco it.
Yeah. But I actually liked it. It was good.
Have you seen Best Friends Part 1 and 2?
No. I don't want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't. It's Imagine The Room, but with production value.
Yeah,
and money
I just
behind
feel
it.
like it's not necessary to try to be like, look, we can make movies. See?
I
See?
must say, I do appreciate the modern day folktale spin that it has, in the sense that no one knows Tommy's true story.
Yeah.
And he's created this mystery because obviously he sent it to all the film festivals that got absolutely panned, and then everyone started enjoying it from laughing at it.
Yeah.
And so he started changing his answers to like with the spoons and anything.
Yeah, yep.
One day it was like, and I loved that. I remember hearing his supercut like years ago before the Disaster Artist kind of renewed it, where it was his 10 or so answers to each of the 3 main questions he got asked. So it was like, what's with the spoons?
Yeah.
And each time was this
different.
really big, long, like thesis level answer. But none of the times was it the same thing. Because like anyone that asked Tommy a leading question, like, so is it about blah, 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 this thing? And he'd be like, yes, it is. And then he'd go on a like improvised rant saying that it really was.
They actually just went... He has a lot of money. And he was willing to spend it on all sorts of things, except the props in that room. He just went, here's like $50, go to like a secondhand store and just get furnishings for it. And so, you know, when you buy frames and they have a picture already in them, that's just what was in those frames when they bought them. So that's like the display picture. And that's it. There's no story to it.
That was used to the saddest part of that. There's a Mr. Bean episode where he put stuff in his horrendous house of just the people who are in the frames, and you laugh at the time, then you think about
how lonely it is. He's sending himself all those Christmas cards.
Oh my god!
But same as Tommy actually owns a building in San Francisco, but he insisted on them green screening those rooftop scenes when he could have actually filmed on a real rooftop.
It's so hilarious.
Because he got the big thing was that started was the billboard. He actually bought a billboard that
and it was
was
up
up
for
like a year.
ages.
And that scene was like 3 years.
Yeah,
that it was just up there with no distribution of the film.
And that
it was
one
just, if you want a screening, ring this
lazy
number.
eye. Yeah.
If you want a thing, ring.
And it was him.
And he hired a limo and like 2, you know, escorts for the evening and just drove around the block.
Yep.
Well, even in the when Franco was promoting The Disaster Artist, he was on, I believe it was Conan, and he actually received a call because Tommy had actually given him the mobile phone that rang from the Billboard number at the time.
Oh, wow.
And so James Franco actually takes one of the calls live on Conan O'Brien, which then obviously made, like, even fed
More
into it because
people
the Billboard, they put the Billboard back up in the same spot,
That's
but
right.
with Franco instead of... Was oh, man. I also liked when every time Franco won an award for The Disaster Artist, Tommy would try to say a speech, and there was a few
full hijacking it. You can see him holding him back.
Franco actually pushes him.
Oh, Golden Globes. He was like, no, you're not saying anything.
Now, while we're comfortably sat here in the bottom of the barrel, we might as well hit to your next choice.
You don't get much, you know, you're not going to climb much higher than the bottom of the barrel here, sorry.
2013. It is a drama fantasy mystery starring Neil Breen, written by Neil Breen and directed by Neil Breen. What is this film?
Oh, it's called Fateful Findings. It is, look, for those who like terrible, horrible movies like The Room, it's just, it tops the lot. It is the worst movie you could possibly ever watch. And it's so amazingly bad. Like, he really thinks he's making this masterpiece. The CGI is bad. The acting's bad. The editing is just horrible. And the plot is just bizarre. Have you seen it?
I looked
you
up
need to watch it.
I watched a heap of scenes and I was like, is this like a midday movie that got rejected?
It's so bad, hey?
It looks like they filmed like from what I saw, looked like someone filmed a scene for Jag, the TV show. Then all the crew and all the actors went home, and the janitor and some of his friends snuck in onto the set and then just mucked around doing their own scene because there is no redeeming quality other than it kind of looks, if you squint in a certain way, like a movie.
Yeah, like the I think that a lot of people, since movies like The Room and Sharknado and all those, they make those purposely B-grade films. Sharknado is a good example of it. And
what's entertaining about
Birdemic or whatever it is. So
anything from The Asylum as well.
Yeah, so this film has all those qualities, but it's not parodying bad films. Actually, it's holding itself as a proper good film, but it's just the worst one out of the lot.
Because it's almost like we've touched on this quite often with our podcast with a lot of horror movies from the late 90s.
Yep.
They weren't setting out to make bad movies.
Yeah, no.
They were trying to make the best movie they could with the limitations they had, which ended up being an entertaining but bad movie. Whereas the likes of Sharknado have thrown that out of the window, where it's just like, oh, the name alone will sell this. And I think a lot of it comes back to even Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah, true.
Where
That was the first.
it was just
That was one of the
pandered to
first.
the mindless audience. Of,
Let's just cut through the crap and just like let's give them what they want.
Yeah.
There's even a really just dreadful one, and it's got like Tara Reid in it or something, and it's called Two-Headed Shark. Have you seen that?
I
It's
did.
just-
There
yeah.
was a little while when I first got Stan, the streaming service.
Yeah.
They had filled it with all that fodder, and so it
Yeah.
was like Ghost Shark, Night of the Shark,
Yeah, yep.
Shark Swarm,
Titanic 2.
Yeah, like. Well, actually, I think it's Crackle or one of the other ones has like the
Yeah, it's
the
I can't remember the
Megalodon
name of it,
versus
but they've got
giant.
the worst ones, but they're
What
so
I like
funny.
is there's like Atlantic Rim, like instead of Pacific Rim, and all these other ones.
Yeah,
You know
like
where they all live now? Amazon Prime.
yeah,
Nice.
like not
If
Need
you
for
want-
Speed, but they try to make it look just like
Yeah.
it. So yeah,
That's where Netflix and Stan dump all their movies that are on one, and it's like it's
all the
on
ones
that
at the distribution have gone. You can have this one
Yeah.
for $1.
it's really bad. Yeah, well, I want to see it. Like I saw a couple of clips on YouTube. I'm just like, this is
You have
amazing.
to. You have to. And it's so just little things that are bizarre. Like there's a part where he gets hit by a car or something like that, and you see all these people walking across the road to find him, and then the scene where he's laying on the ground, there's no feet. But then the another shot has like 10 people around it, and then it goes back to him and there's nobody there. Like it's just really
Well, if I can speak for the man himself,
incredible.
he says, I don't try to tell people what's right or wrong. I don't preach to people. I just sort of lay it out, and I think it's interesting and thought-provoking.
He's got this funny, weird complex where I think he thinks he's going to save the world because he's got more than one film. That's just, I think, his
Oh, yeah, I was
best
just-
one.
Well, this
But
is
he's
a
got this,
a remake of one. This is actually a remake of another movie he did.
Oh,
just
gosh.
reading. He's got a movie called Double Down.
Yep.
Where he played a super hacker tracking national and international corruption while pining for his lost love.
They're
So,
all the same. He's
yeah,
got this
it's-
one where he's this cybernetic robot Jesus that like gets reincarnated into the desert or some I don't know what. But he's waking up and he's like, oh, I'm back on the earth wearing his like, gown. But he's got bits of like what looks like old rams stuck on him. Like he's part robot. But
He's got the same expression on every one of his movie posters as well. The mark of a good actor, director, anything, is when in their filmography on IMDb, he was apparently in Scream as a policeman, but in brackets it says, unconfirmed, uncredited.
Well, honestly, looking at his face, to sell him to anyone that hadn't seen, basically, if David Duchovny had a hobby
acid
of
thrown in his
no.
face.
If he had a hobby of enacting the bee scene from My Girl and just poke bees, because he looks like a bee stung David Duchovny.
no, let's not bring David Duchovny into this.
Oh, you're not upset by My Girl.
This is David Duchovny we're
Leave
talking about.
Mulder alone. I must say, me and my wife have been going through all our favourite childhood movies and forcing them on our children of late because
Yep.
they're at an age now of actually appreciate them. We revisited Beethoven this week.
Yeah.
Even
Yep.
though it's against my thing. Do you know who the power couple that are kind of not the big bad, but some of the evil couple?
Yeah.
It is Deb from Everyone Loves Raymond and her wife, her husband, sorry, David Duchovny.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wow.
yes.
He gets
is
knocked
David
over
Duchovny,
a chair and does
They
like a
get
really
dragged
good...
around.
Yeah.
There's actually a bit that looks amazing where they're dragged on the chairs, it hits a fence and flips. And
That
it's
was-
all stuntmen, and I'm like, they could have died.
That was peak X-Files too. Like, he didn't need to do that.
Was it really? I thought it must have been before.
No, it was 90... Because X-Files started in 92, 93.
Because I know a film we're going to touch on in the podcast at some stage was his next step from X-Files being Evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Great
was
film.
also,
Next
I
step.
think, briefly in Don't Tell Mum the Babysitter's Dead.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
He was
Yeah.
for like a second or something, like a small part.
Yeah. He just
Great
popped on
film.
anyway. He was just like...
Could have
"Ah."
made the list, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. We'll continue with the music here on DVD. Don't forget, you can join in the conversation. Jump on our Facebook, Dave's Video Graveyard.
We got a request for
WOWFM.
Things of Stone and Wood from Jamie, so...
Nice. Who's saying Green Limousine? We'll play that as well.
the Bad Loves. Yes.
This is DVD. It is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM, where it pays to pay attention to how long's left in the song. There we heard from Rhubarb from Paul's CD collection. You know you love that song. We all love that song.
Bless the Lord.
Praise be to Jeebus for that one.
Heaven is a half pipe.
Oh, wow. You've hit the bottom of the barrel once again. That's
I
tonight's
just
theme.
live there.
And speaking of the bottom of the barrel, I think perhaps the oldest film we've ever covered on DVG.
Beautiful film.
Surely there's a Misfit song about this one. It is Plan 9 from Outer Space from 1959. Why did you pick this film? A much improvement from your last two picks, but tell us about it.
I used to really, well, not used to, but I would just get random movies from the Atlantic video store on Main Road.
Nice.
And
Shout out.
Yeah, represent.
Show sponsors.
I would just go through the sci-fi section and just watch things, just anything. I'd just hire out all these 8 weeklies for $8. Anyway, I found this and I'd heard about it, so I watched it, and it was just this incredible experience watching that for the first time. Bela Lugosi, instead of refilming that like 2 minutes that he's in it, they just kind of kept some guy playing that role but covering his face, because that must have been a real draw card for Ed Wood to have Bela Lugosi in his film. It just led me down a path of watching all the Ed Wood films as well after that, because
I got onto this film after watching the Burton film about Ed Wood, and then I went down that path and I'm like, oh, this is a lot harder to digest than that film was.
Very strange, man. Glenn or Glenda.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Is particularly strange. I feel like Zap Brannigan is like a sort of, based on this. But yeah, I don't know. I just find that film, Plan 9, so bizarre. The editing's terrible. You know, it's day and then it's night, then it's day, then it's night, and then the graveyard is in this sort of like supposedly forest that just looks like some cardboard and a couple of sticks.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know.
It looked like a high school play put to film.
Yep, but there's a certain charm about it. I don't know.
I imagine living in a time though that this was close enough to real life that it was terrifying.
And the UFOs that they spot that are just like pie tins on a string, that kind of vibe. It's great.
It's got a great vibe to it.
It does.
It really
it's like
does.
It really tried, you know. It's the little engine that could.
Have you ever seen it on the big screen?
No.
Because I reckon.
I don't know if it's high enough resolution.
I was going to say.
I would love to see
have to
it.
bounce it through several mirrors.
Because there's a couple of people, like over in the States, they do the big festivals about it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I always wanted to go see it on the big screen. But one of my, I could say it's favourites. Yeah, I suppose it's fun to watch.
It is very fun. It's ultimately bizarre. The Boobarella style chick, what's her name? Vampira.
Yeah.
The real like midnight movie kind of vibe.
Massive fan. I will hear nothing bad about the quality of the acting. Speaking of acting, we're going to hit the peak of this evening's acting now that we've gone past Wiseau. We are talking about one unknown at the time, A. Schwarzenegger, and we are talking about the 1970 film Hercules in New York. This was another part of the what is wrong with you. This list is not only poor quality, subjectively talking, not meant to be offensive, subjectively poor quality, but across the board. It's not just one bit of poor quality, it's the Whitnam sampler of poor quality.
It really is. This list is starting to reveal that I've spent my childhood at the video store.
Now, I've got to say, when I did read your list originally, I mistook, what's the one where they do the premiere of Hercules and don't have the audio, so they double
Hercules Returns.
That's what I mistook
Which
it
is
for,
also
and I got
a great
really
film.
excited.
Yeah,
Well,
that is a great film.
List.
But this one's better.
Tell us all about it.
Well, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's Hercules, in ancient Greece.
Yep.
Which looks like someone's backyard, and you can hear cars, but it's ancient Greece. And he's like, but I'm Hercules. And he, for some reason, wants to go to New York, which shouldn't have existed at the time. But anyway, I don't know how. He boards a plane and goes to New York, and suddenly it's 1970. And he proceeds to fight a bunch of sailors. He then enters some sort of strongman competition. You see him having a punch on with a bear at one point, which is just a man in a suit. It's just has to be seen to be believed.
I've never seen this.
And his diction is so bad in it.
It's what?
His diction.
And when it comes to IMDb, when it comes to the user scores, this is the 33rd lowest film of all time. which is
I think you should be
a
reading that
huge
list
call.
backwards.
It's the 43 best film
and then
on
there's
your
that
list
real,
of 10
like,
tonight.
slightly Woody Allen kind of character that's meant to be the sort of like
That's what I thought it was.
the comic
which
relief.
I'm guessing they were like, we need something iconically New York
Yes.
because the crappy
Yeah.
buildings aren't cutting it. In case we're not allowed to film on this certain day, we need something. So they got the real, Woody Allen, like...
The neurotic New York 70s type character.
When realistically, you could also just got a cab driver to point a revolver in his face, and it also would have been just as New York. Paul, have you seen this one?
I've never seen it, no.
There's
It's
multiple
like the-
versions as well. Have you seen they've dubbed over Schwarzenegger's voice?
Really?
And it is almost, which I didn't realise also, they did that with Flash Gordon.
Yep.
But it's to that level where they've gone from Arnold's broad accent to I am Hercules.
Yeah,
And he's
really clear.
Oh, you've gone the other way
There
very
are
long.
some scenes, there's one in particular where he's in the back of a taxi and he's like, say you're the camera person and, he's talking and blah, but his lines are written on a cue card and he's just talking like this to this character and it's just the most awkward but hilarious thing.
He did that up until Terminator, I'm pretty sure.
But you'll notice that they only give him single line dialogue so that they can just edit it.
The Keanu Matrix approach.
Yeah, the Axl Rose style. Yeah,
Nice.
just single lines only.
Right, so we've hit on one of the greatest action stars of all time, and one of Tim Burton's wet dreams as well, being Ed Wood, his favourite director of all time.
Yep, with of course Johnny Depp as the lead character.
You don't say.
What do you
Tim
mean?
Burton cast Johnny Depp in something.
Can't believe
Have they worked together? Is that new?
Well, just
What's
in that one
in?
movie, I'm pretty sure.
But not anymore.
I must admit, on part of my 10 weeklies for $10 that I'm currently getting, kids picked Frankenweenie last week.
Oh no,
That movie's great.
Yeah.
It is so well done. Once you get past the lazy black and white, it's great. It's way better than anything Burton's done in the last 15 years.
it just looked like a really bad sort of rejected scenes from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Even my son Ollie put it in great thing. He says it's like Coraline but not scary because it's a lot more. It's more Edward Scissorhands suburban than it is like Coraline.
Okay.
Dark. So I'd recommend that. Speaking of current up and coming movies,
Right.
we are on the cusp of what is current here on DVG.
Yes, we are.
All right. Speaking of current, we might get back into the music, and because we're talking about aliens, let's hit up this one. It's DVG here on WOWFM. It is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM. Now, we are visiting a lot of poor quality tonight. And while we're on the subject of poor quality, you have an exhibition coming up this week. Tell us all about it.
I sure do. I'd almost forgotten I was in the sort of weird realm that you guys make here.
I know. If it helps, don't look directly at the attractive face in front of you. If that helps.
You'll go blind.
It's like the 90s crapped on you.
I've been, as you said, I'm the personified cool S, and I'll take it. The Stussy S. In human form.
The cool S, yeah. Made out of S's, you know that? It's like this
I didn't draw
evolution.
one this week and post it. What are you talking
So
about?
good.
Cool.
Yeah, Wednesday night. It's called Dazzleland, and it is at Urban Cow Studio. It's all Adelaide themed artwork. A lot of pics that I've had over the years that have been published randomly, and there's a couple of new ones that people haven't seen. From 5:30 you'll be able to come in. I've got wine by Small Change Wines. There is a lot of special Dazzleland brew that was made for me by Sweet Amber.
Right.
There is also...
She sounds nice.
There's also going to be...
We've got our first eye roll for
frog cakes.
Last.
Kytons, Lamingtons.
Oh, really?
And Mr. Fruit Choc will be there handing out fruit chocks.
That's amazing.
I've got to say, I have seen, you really have managed to infiltrate local culture. I have seen your eye frog cake Adelaide design a fair bit.
Cool.
Before I realised that was your work.
Well, that's cool.
Back when I like it is how I call it.
But then I met you and I just...
found out it was you.
Yeah.
Read your list of favourite movies and I was like, maybe we could get funding if we have her on.
Maybe we can get another guest late notice. So. Casey, we're not having the show this week.
You can't put... No, don't say that.
But no, seriously,
Do not say
it's going to be a big celebration. I mean, what I tried to do was not just make it like, come and look at my art. But it's like, let's all sort of celebrate the good, bad and ugly and the romanticised nostalgia of Adelaide, not just visually, but in memories.
And while you're here, look at my art.
Yeah, buy some. No, let's drink wine because South Australia is so good for it. We've
Responsibly.
got great beers. There's all the food. There's so many different things. There is going to be a special video piece that you might enjoy.
And it's for no monies.
That's right. It is free. Please come and eat and drink and look at the things
Drink
and laugh
responsibly.
and talk and just seriously just enjoy the whole vibe and help me create the Adelaide vibe by being there and being happy and just, yeah.
I must say, I was watching some related material to your exhibition this week, and my son would not believe that there was once a roller coaster suspended from the top of a shopping mall, let alone that part of it went sideways, at which point you look directly down to the ground.
Yep.
Blew his mind. And another point asked if we could go to a certain place in Glenelg on the weekend because it's the first time he'd seen that as well. So, yeah, good times.
Pretty cool.
I
The
managed...
big poo.
Yeah.
Do you know what? There's outside of, I think it's Woolworths in Rundle Mall, there's a statue, a bronze statue of a girl, and it's like looks like she's falling.
Yeah.
And I like to just tell people as we go past that once somebody fell off the roller coaster at Dazzleland and died, and that's a statue in a tribute to her.
Is that her parent
and
or
it
is that the
takes
girl?
It takes them a minute to realise why would they make the statue of her falling to her death. But seriously, try it out. Just do it. Just say it to someone when you walk. It's really funny.
I want to expand the story.
Yeah.
Right? It was the week of the Royal Adelaide show, and in a really unfortunate moment, she actually landed on some display pigs that were at the bottom of Rundle Mall that week.
Yeah, it was a
and
freak
that
incident.
is why you get the bronze pigs as well.
Yeah.
I want to know when SA are going to step up and fund a Farnsey statue singing the Rundle Mall song
Big bronze Farnsey.
in his tuxedo ringmaster costume, because that's life-changing.
We do need it. Well, look, maybe if people really support my art and I get rich, I will personally fund that.
There we go. All right, there we go. We've got gold. No one was going to go until you put that out there.
Yep, we'll do it. We'll make a GoFundMe. We'll make it.
You're gonna have to go to a bigger venue now that you've put that out.
Farnsey.
Go Farns me.
I'm pretty sure there is a certain.
Oh my god.
There is a certain Instagram that would jump right behind that in a second.
Yep. Well.
Good times. Now, speaking of things that people shouldn't get behind, 1996, using the stellar star power of the world's biggest television show at the time, Matt LeBlanc decided that,
I'm going to go into films.
Dave Schwimmer can go be a pallbearer.
And Matthew McConaughey can hook up with Salma Hayek. I can get a chimpanzee to play baseball.
That's right. We are talking about the 1996 film, Ed. What is wrong with you? Continuing the problem.
I don't know why. I mean, it was either that I had a really big love of movies that had monkeys in them as a kid, or maybe there were just a lot of movies with monkeys in them in the 90s.
This was prime monkey time for movies.
It was definitely a prime era for monkey films.
This era was known as post-Dunstan. So
yeah,
that's how
your Dunstan, you got Ed, you got Monkey Trouble, you got Congo.
Baby's Day Out, I would count, because of the big ape.
Yep, there's so many.
Congo got a mention and Paul ignored it. Paul, Casey mentioned Congo.
So a second person has mentioned Congo in the last 5 years.
I have been begging Paul to visit Congo on our podcast, at which point he made me watch both Jurassic Park movies to decide if I still wanted to, because they're all written by the same person.
But you have to see Congo at least once, purely just to get my reference of that list.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't worry, it's there. There's reasons.
Look,
He's
film...
just not into sign languaging monkeys. Sorry, continue.
Do you know my name? I was actually named after a chimpanzee that could do sign language.
Really?
Casey, yep.
I am.
My parents must have been into a lot of plants that night, if you know what I mean.
Can you do sign language?
Saw that film. No, I can't.
So you pale in comparison
I only
to the
look
monkey
like a monkey.
What monkey are you named after?
Casey, the chimpanzee.
Who's that?
I don't know. Look it up.
Rightio.
Can't be that famous, but yeah, just to
whatever a
type up
current
Casey
affair
the
bit that they were
chimpanzee.
watching that night. Like, that's cool.
Casey the chimpanzee.
We're gonna name her Gorillas in the Mist.
Mum just pushed me out and goes, I don't know, call her whatever. Casey it was.
I was going to be named Chris Christopherson, but just Chris.
That's
K-R-I-S.
strange.
Because I would have
No,
been
Casey the
Highlander.
chimpanzee.
The monkey
There's
shows
so
that I know how to
clearly
spell.
a lot of monkeys named Casey. Gosh.
Let's talk
Anyway,
about
Donovan.
let's talk about Matt,
Donovan.
Sorry, I was talking about Ed, wasn't I? No,
let's talk
because
about Matt LeBlanc.
I watched that movie when I was younger, and I really liked it, and so I watched it again a couple of years ago, and it was just this ridiculous. Like, it had all the 90s cliches in it, but it was just so funny at it. Like, the lip syncing was so bad, I had to find out why, and apparently the animatronic ape was so loud that they had to dub over all the lines that had the monkey in the scene. That cracks me. I want to hear the original audio.
I want
LeBlanc just getting
yeah.
angst.
I wanted the absolute height of
Oh, there she is.
the absolute height of the fame of LeBlanc. I want his face bitten off by a chimp. Like, that would be the best season of Friends.
Yeah.
Is the one where he's always in the every time Chandler comes home, Joey's drying his face with the towel, and they're just using stock footage.
And then there's like that scene, the scene where he's got the turkey stuck on his head and just
They
keep
use
repeating
stock
that.
footage.
Yeah.
Hey, where's Joey? Oh, he's still got that.
A bit of a Mrs. Doubtfire kind of moment.
We have just made the greatest episode of Friends that ever didn't happen. Who else gets dragged down in this film? Is there anyone of note?
Oh, doubt it.
No.
True, nah. Well, there's like, nah, because LeBlanc was like, I can carry this.
Jesus Christ himself. Thank praise be to
Jim
Jesus.
Caviezel.
Jim Caviezel was in this. Nice. What a film.
There was a really good patch of 90s sports-related films. Like Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year is awesome.
Angels in the
Excellent.
Outfield.
Yeah,
A
there's
League
so
of Their
many
Own.
cool ones.
It's always baseball, though. We touched on this. We did an episode on
No,
sport.
but there's Champions.
Yeah.
Space Jam.
That's a documentary, though. That really happened about the time that
The
B.
aliens
Murray...
came. Have you seen Gilligan's Island? Nice.
It's a Bill Murray one, too.
Harlem Globetrotters and Gilligan's Island.
No, but I know it exists.
Same as like they verse the robots, and it's like, and they all come to this island. They have this basketball game, and then they all leave, and they leave them there on the island. It's bugged me for my whole life.
So, like, the Globetrotters come to the island. They play again.
They play a mean game of b-ball, and then they leave. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
I want to see that episode.
I think you can watch it on YouTube.
I think I will be.
I need to quickly go to the wiki, the Centre for Wiki-related things. I need to know the budget and the money that was made by...
We're going to be probably grossly disappointed or offended by this. And we should compare it to something. Like, let's look up,
Star Wars.
Yeah, no, but like the cost of like something, an episode
Sandlot.
of Friends, for example.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Right? And we'll compare that.
Rightio. So we're looking... This was made for $24 million.
Oh
and it
my
made
God.
$4 million. So it only lost $20 million. And that's in
And
its
that was
lifetime.
probably his demand to be in this film.
Yeah, 20 of it would have been what he would make in it. No, let's see...
we talked about a classmate losing at a game show. Imagine him going back onto set after making $4 million of $24 million, and Matt Perry just sitting there with his 3 to Tango money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just as a comparison, right?
okay,
$75,000 per episode.
So they were getting $1 million in season 9 and 10 per episode. So over the 2 seasons,
ridiculous.
they could have paid for this film. And then we will go.
And The Room cost $6 million to make as well.
The Room did?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And it looked like that. I could have made that on a Snapchat. Oh, now that is a good film.
Made for $7 million and made 33. Oh,
Beautiful.
my goodness.
And I was still like, I'd still give it money.
Let's look at some...
I'd pay to watch
I'd pay to watch it in the movies again for sure. 100%.
Let's look at something that's a little higher class, shall we?
Matilda.
You're killing me, Smiles.
Matilda was made... Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's
It
upsetting.
didn't even break even,
It
damn.
lost $3 million. This is a very upsetting episode.
But on home video, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Inflation and stuff.
And how many times I've seen it, if I paid $1, it would make much more.
Disturbing.
Rightio. Now, taking a trip and sniffing into the mic. It is 1988. We're talking about the derivative E.T. It is Mac and Me. What is wrong with you? I will reiterate.
I don't know why I had fond memories of this as a kid, and I've got a funny feeling that maybe my mum hired it for me thinking it was the popular alien film about with the boy E.T., but it wasn't, and I just didn't know the difference. So I grew up watching this movie, and yeah, anyone who's seen it just knows the sigh that I'm talking about.
Well,
look, it's really seriously a very, very thinly veiled product placement for McDonald's, Coca-Cola.
Not show sponsors, believe it or not.
No, but just this little alien that comes to Earth and is revived by drinking a can of Coke, and then they feeding him all sorts of junk food. They go to McDonald's and there's this whole song and dance and this amazing sort of like, wow, 80s McDonald's kind of thing going on.
And one of the most iconic wheelchair scenes of a film in
Yeah.
the history of the world. This film was made for $13 million and it made $6 million even on the home video market.
Look, I don't feel bad about that one because I feel like McDonald's probably paid $10 million of that.
Yeah.
I remember getting this with the 5 for 5 pack when I was a kid, like this Flight the Navigator.
Oh, yep.
You know,
This
the
actually-
boat could
Flight of the
fly.
Navigator is good.
I do remember what it is. I recently heard on a podcast, the reason being, any films that would have McDonald's in their film, actually featured in their film, or any of the subsidiaries of McDonald's, they could actually sell the VHS in store with Happy Meals.
Oh, really?
It was a big part of the thing. The likes of...
like, remember when you'd get, like, Pizza Haven meal deal and
Yes.
it'd come with video?
Exactly. That's what this was like. But there was, like, Mac and Me. Pizza Hut had Wayne's World because of the product placement joke.
Yeah.
That actually made them... So there was this whole thing of fast food chains...
Yeah.
actually releasing VHS
Well, there you go.
as a tie-in, but didn't really help with this one because it's a product of its time. I think it's quite charming for what it is.
Yeah, it's it reminds me of Mac Tonight as well. Well, his name's Mac, you know. Come on.
It reminds me of the World Vision ads of the 90s.
Oh my lord!
I don't know why.
And
I'm
the
not going to say why.
encephaly outbreak of 2016. Yeah.
As in, it invokes.
No,
it invokes
don't.
very strong emotional sadness inside of me.
Play
is
a
what I
song.
meant.
Play a song.
This is 100.5 WOW FM. All of Paul's
Oh my god.
all of Paul's opinions coming through, and his best impression.
To the song.
His best impression of my voice. This is DVG.
I was just singing until the mic went on.
It is DVG here on WOW FM. Casey Cumming, local illustrator / poor quality radio host, and we're not saying your skill level, just your station. Oh, shots fired!
Oh.
Straight
I
out the
know.
lawnmower.
I know nobody likes Nova. No, I'm kidding.
Listen
dear.
to silence. Rightio. So, in case no one got it from that song, we are talking about The Shawshank Redemption.
To this day, I still have no idea what that woman was singing about.
I think we should go home. The show's peaked.
I'm talking about the entire run.
1988, The New Adventures of Pippi Longstocking. This was the gritty reboot at the time. Much
Yes.
like everyone cries about it now, this was the 1988. This ain't your mama's Pippi Longstocking. Tell us all about this show.
I don't think you'll find a little girl who grew up in the 80s that didn't love this movie. And, you know, people are probably thinking I added it in there because it's really bad, and it is, but I also kind of love it. It's this weird-looking, redhead, freckle-faced girl.
Hey, you choose your words.
Because he's weird.
All right. She's a really disgusting, ugly... No.
She's a strawberry blonde.
Look, there are some scenes in this that would not pass today the animal welfare standards of having animals
Tell
in
us
your film.
about that. Let's get into
they,
that.
110% like paint this horse, spotted, and then they throw it in the water. There's a monkey in there. I don't know. They're probably just electrocuting it.
Have you seen Blazing Saddles?
No.
There is a scene where a character called Mongo, a tough cowboy, walks into town and haymaker punches a horse.
Wow.
And it's all practical. And it's much a similar approach to this movie with horses.
I have a secret love that I didn't include in my list of Bollywood films.
Right.
And there are some stunts and scenes from Bollywood films that would just set that to a whole new level.
One day I'll eventually see them because I told Paul recently on my streaming service, for the first time ever, we won't mention its name, what I was watching, the season finished.
Yeah.
And so it played like 30 seconds of a Bollywood movie, like as a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
I was like, no, thank you.
No,
and
you gotta
exited
see.
out. But now, every day, Netflix is like, hey, you know how you watch 30 seconds of that Bollywood film?
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to watch this instead of
if
Brooklyn
one comes
Nine-Nine?
up called Koi Mil Gaya, watch it. Change your life.
Yeah, right.
It's like if Space Jam, Billy Madison, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind all turned into a Bollywood film.
I didn't see it win any Oscars, and if that really happened,
Hey,
that's
it
where
might
I'd
have
hear
won
about
a
it.
Bollywood Oscar. If you ask anyone who watches that type of cinema, that was like a big deal, that movie, and it's...
So speaking of Pippi Longstockings, what's it about?
It's about some long stockings and a girl named Pippi. She finds these kids that have weird parents, boring parents, I don't know, teaches them the joy of being kids. Her dad's a pirate. She goes and sort of, enriches these kids' lives, and then she, instead of going back on her dad's pirate ship, stays with them. The scrubbing day scene has one of my favourite special effects in it of all time, where she gets out of this bath and goes, I'll just dry myself by spinning around in a circle. And if you watch that scene intently, it's totally just like a mannequin on a stick with two hoses sticking out of its scarecrow-like arms, spinning in a circle, spraying water out of its arms. And then it shows her dry. Like, I just spun myself dry, but...
The actor that played Tommy, is he one of your relatives? No?
I should marry him.
Similar last name, I guess.
Yeah.
Good times. Yeah. Just jokes.
If I married him, I would be called Casey Cumming. Although I should join the Navy, I think. I think me and my brother should join the Army and the Navy, and I could be Private Cumming and he could be Seaman Cumming. It'd be great.
One for the family here on DVG. Pippi Longstockings. Woo!
It's a good family fun
This
film.
movie has, from memory, Dick Van Patten in it, and he always sticks out because, as you've said, you haven't seen Blazing Saddles. He was a constant collaborator of Mel Brooks. He plays the Emperor in Spaceballs. And he quite often plays a lot of characters. Was he in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or something like that? Or am I just mixing him up because of Dick Van Dyke? Good times. This is live thinking here on DVD.
Dick Van Dyke. We're going to censor that. We're going to call him Penis Van Lesbian.
Oh, you should have married Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
And then be a powerful modern woman and make him take your last name.
Casey Van Dyke Cumming.
No, more so Dick Van Cumming. Good times.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Speaking of totally unmaking jokes about things, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Completely different kind of film with no jokes to be made about it.
Hey.
This film is terrifying and amazing. Tell us all about it.
All right, well, I would really one day like to make some sort of like live stream of all the different jokes that happen during this film because there are so many. But I mean, it's a good film. It's a weird film. It's creepy. There's a Reddit.
One of the best, the happiest child murder films you'll ever see.
Oh yeah, it's brutal. But
Sorry,
yeah, there's a Reddit called Grandpa Joe Hate.
Oh yeah, I was going to get onto this.
Yeah. People Photoshop him like shaking hands with Hitler and just like they're fully ripping into
I
him.
do love because he's basically bedridden until
He's
there's the thing.
bedridden. His family are impoverished. He's using what little money they have to buy tobacco. He's probably shitting the bed. Along comes his ticket to a chocolate factory, and he's up doing a song and dance, clicking his heels.
Do you think maybe he was getting some government money? Do you think that may have been the case?
I don't know, but seriously,
he was on workers' comp.
he couldn't. He was bedridden until the chocolate factory tour came up.
Run, Charlie. Run back to your gross house.
Yeah.
How many times are you getting kicked in the groin in that bed situation? Honestly.
I don't know. They might have been getting freaky in there.
Who knows?
Imagine the smell in that room, though. Seriously.
It smells like line mints and
Yeah,
sadness.
cabbage water again, and the smell of all those old people.
4 people in a bed eating cabbage water. Oh. That could be we should start a podcast that we do from a bed where we all just eat cabbage water. Eat cabbage water and watch Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah. All right.
What a good time. This is DVG's Cabbage Water Special.
You won't need a heater in that bed. It's,
Casey and I believe you're starting a tribute band shortly to do a fringe show, Casey and the Cabbage Water.
Yeah.
I would go see that.
Hey, look, I am just going to mention briefly that in that movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, next time you're watching it, the scene where he's peeping through the window at the guy who owns the candy store singing Candyman, and he's not in there because he's got no money, which is weird because he's giving all that candy up for free, so he might as well have gone in. But anyway, the Candyman's on the side of the store counter and he's singing his song, and he opens it, decks that kid in the chin. It's so funny.
Oh, my Lord.
And I can't believe they didn't notice it enough to retake that scene.
I'm the Candyman.
It's just so funny.
I want a George Lucas re-release, much like the Stormtrooper hitting its head.
Yeah.
I want a re-release where it dunk. Oh. Oh, that's an unfortunate laugh.
And I'm injuring your kids.
I just hate all those re-releases. It's really sad. And the way that they then changed the Darth Vader spirit at the end to be Hayden Christensen, but they kept Alec Guinness. Haunts my dreams.
There is a lot of other problems in that franchise, believe it or not.
Yeah, but
spoiler alert.
Just that bit in particular is just why? Why is he young and Obi-Wan's old?
So, yeah.
And I just know.
You just opened up a wound.
You've hit Paul in his sad spot.
Did you like the Burton version of Willy Wonka?
Oh, I thought you were saying of Star Wars. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Did you like?
Yeah.
Did you like Tim Burton's Phantom Menace with Helena
Johnny
Botham,
Depp?
Helena Botham Carter as Princess Leia?
Yeah, and Johnny Depp as the kid.
It's Anakin. My God, he can play everything.
I like those Annie, are you okay memes, but it's like him burning in the Mustafa lava.
I still love how many weekly memes are still going with Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Like there was only this week was like.
I love that you can go to Collectible Chaos and still find episode 1 memorabilia that you can buy because no one's bought it. It's 2019.
Nice.
It's just dusty.
Is that still gone?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mostly Funko Pop vinyls.
I had a friend that was...
can I say?
Yeah.
I don't usually love Funko Pop much. Like, it's cool, whatever you want to do, but they have a Marsha Brady George Glass. And it's just her and an empty...
Yep.
And empty space in the box, and that is just
It's
genius.
amazing. They also have a John Cena one that's that as well.
Oh, it's just...
Yeah, empty.
Because you can't see it. That is amazing.
So funny. I love that they... Because I should have added the Brady Bunch into my list, but I didn't.
Really round it out and make it make sense.
Jan Brady being, the sort of dud that they didn't make a Jan Brady Funko Pop. Is that not just the joke that keeps on giving? My last birthday actually had a Brady Bunch themed party, and I put up a blue thing in the hallway and took a photo of everyone and photoshopped it into this big giant Brady Bunch family.
That's amazing.
Nice.
The outfits were so funny, and my friend actually made this strange, real 60s, 70s dish of boiled eggs and little sausages and stuff that was all in that gelatinous kind of mold.
Oh, yeah. It's 70s cooking.
Yeah. Yeah, we really...
Did you have a fondue set on the go?
No.
What
I
a
couldn't
fail
find
of
one.
a party.
No. Yeah.
Did Mike and the mum hook up?
A lot of people
they did
in
on set.
Hawaiian shirts, yeah.
Did your maid that's engaged to a butcher clean everything up at the end of the night?
He was delivering some meat.
Oh, sure he was. Oh.
Look, back to Willy Wonka. I didn't really like Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I feel like he was given an opportunity to make 2 of the creepiest things ever creepy, which he's so good at, and he really didn't. He could have done Alice in Wonderland. He could have done that so much creepier. So the original, to me, has the creep factor that really wins
Yeah.
I enjoy both of them for different things.
The other one's got more of the Roald Dahl feeling in it.
I don't like the Oompa Loompa approach in...
But, you know, he's Badler from that season 8 episode of X-Files where there's that little man that
He's on the trolley.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Deep Roy or whatever his name is. So that made it a bit creepy for me. Yeah.
That was unsettling to see as, like, one of... Well,
line of that
Christopher
one guy.
Lee
Yeah.
as young young Willie's dad as well.
Yeah.
So frightening.
Yeah, that
because
is.
nothing he says doesn't sound frightening.
I kind of like the songs in it, the new one.
Yeah, the songs
I
are
don't
cool.
mind it.
The songs are pretty cool.
It's not terrible. Yeah.
Now we'll all have the Violent Beauregard song stuck in our head.
Mhm. Chewing.
Good times. We'll get back into the music here on DVG. 100.5 WOWFM, the Hard-Ons with Where Did She Come From, being nice and topical, tying in this Thursday night on Shannon's High Fidelity here on WOWFM. That's at 10 p.m. this Thursday. Shannon's got a pretty decent lineup for once. He will be joined by Jace from the band Dead. They're in town, and they'll be playing with the Hard-Ons and Blackie from the Hard-Ons, the frontman, iconic member of the band, will be in talking to Shannon. So that's coming up this Thursday night on WOWFM. So awesome. Check that out. Thanks for helping out, guys. If you could somehow play the cricket theme, just a cricket sound effect, that would really help me sell it. Yeah, hype it up. I need someone to do a little John the whole time I'm talking, but you've ruined it. Speaking of ruining things, this list goes from strength to strength. We'll go back to 1968 where it all began. Casey, tell us what you've picked.
I have chosen the one of Charlton Heston's Masterpiece Cinemas, Planet of the Apes.
One of my favourite movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah, I love this movie.
It's really good.
Love the soundtrack, love just the whole concept of it.
Yep.
Love it.
Excellent. And I mean, it's dated, but in a really cool old sci-fi kind of way.
It's become... It's kind of one of those films that went out and then came back again in the sense that bleak 1970s feel of science fiction. Well, this is 1968, but you know, where the ending doesn't have to be happy, it doesn't have to be upbeat, and this probably is iconic when it comes to happy endings.
It definitely is. I mean, I don't know what relevant topic it was, watched this as a study in English when I was in high school.
Nice.
And I just got really hooked on it, and so I'd go and hire out the videos, and my brother and I would watch them. And when you get to the third one, it's probably one of my favourites, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, where Cornelius and Zira are on Earth, and they have a baby and all this blah, 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 and then they end up going back in time, and it shows the, like, cyclical kind of movement of how they left Earth, and then with those apes who'd had the baby, that was the one that became the first talking ape that led the revolution that ended up having the whole apes overthrowing humans. So it would never have happened if they hadn't gone back in time anyway. So it becomes this, like, what do they call that? Ontological paradox.
But back then,
where if they didn't do it, it wouldn't have happened.
Yes,
but if they hadn't
like
done
Terminator.
it,
Yeah.
But back then, they weren't really doing that with movies. Like, they weren't explaining it. So it was kind of revolutionary in that way. It's just like, oh, we're actually going to tell you, like, how this all started.
And it wasn't.
it's
it wasn't
cool.
like your modern day franchises where it was like, we need to tie up something we missed in the last movie. This was more so expanding on an idea rather than going, oh, we better fill that plot hole and say that.
And then the next one would be 20 years after that, and then
Yeah.
it would be like, very cool.
What did you think of the James Franco
Rise?
Rise of the Planet of the Apes. John Lithgow is what I was going to say. The John Lithgow vehicle.
Yeah, that I watched it and it was okay, but it was too much CGI. I think it focused on the wrong things. It would have been better if they put a lot more emphasis on sort of like this one. It had maybe not the best special effects, but it was all there and it was all real.
Is Roddy McDowell the only person that came back for the third one?
Yeah, he
I don't know, but he was also the butler in Overboard.
I like Rise and I liked War.
Yeah, Rise was good.
Dawn I wasn't that keen on with your mate from Terminator in it.
I did quite enjoy. Are we talking like the one
Terminator
from last
Genesis,
year or whatever else?
the Genesis one,
Yeah.
The Australian dude.
Yeah, Jai Courtney, the franchise destroyer. What I did like about that though was the concept of the primitive virus in it, where basically someone could get the thing and they'd basically revert to like primitive thing.
That is
that was cool, but they
Yeah.
didn't explore it. And much like Apocalypse Now, spoiler alert, they built it up for a big climax with the characters meeting each other, and basically by the time it happened, spoiler alert, Woody Harrelson is a primate. Good times.
And he still is amazing.
Yeah, still the best part of the film.
They've recently come out with so Rod Serling, who did Twilight Zone, he did the original script for this, and they've just made it into a graphic novel, and it's really, really good. It's a bit of a different take on it. It's more in a civilized ape society sort of thing.
What?
Like people, it's awesome.
I need that.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's called Planet of the Apes Visionaries. If you get a chance to get it, so
All right, that sounds really cool.
yes.
Right, so we've spent most of this evening basically treading water above the bottom of a barrel, but it's time we dig down through the bottom of the barrel into the ground as we visit the iconic John Waters film, Pink Flamingos.
I have a poster of this in my room.
I'm going to counter that with a why?
I don't know. It's kitsch. Zap.
I also realised how posting the teaser photo today on our Instagram, I realised that not only do I have the build for it, but I now have the hair bassist to do the best cosplay of Divine in the history of the world.
Just bring your dog.
Well, I really want to do it too. A friend of the show that's been on a few times has a massive arm tattoo of Divine from Pink Flamingos. I'd really like to do it just to stand next to his tattoo all the time and make him regret having it on his body. So tell us about the let's say the most kind use of the word film I've ever had. Tell us about this film.
Should I make it sound good or bad?
Well, do as you will with the source material.
It is...
How many people eat dog shit in this film? It will basically be
One.
my first question. How many of them eat real?
Yeah, yep. I remember when I was
Method
younger,
acting,
I had this book and it was like movies you must see before you die or something, and it talked about that, and I was like, that is revolting. I felt ill reading it. I'm like, that's just the worst. Why would anyone do that? Flash forward and I'm just watching it going my brain has come so far from reading that down.
I loved when DiCaprio got all the esteem for eating the heart in The Making of the Revenant, because he ate a real ox heart.
Okay.
I'm like, sorry mate, you're gonna have to step it up.
And Gillian Anderson ate a cricket in an episode of X-Files.
She did.
Yeah.
I'm putting it into Daniel Day-Lewis's court. What are you going to eat, Daniel? That will be our new podcast, is what's Daniel going to eat? Because if he's going to be more method...
If there's anything worse than Divine eating a piece of dog crap, I'd not want to see it, but I'd like to know what it could possibly be that could be worse than that.
So to sum it up, basically, this film is about two revolting families. One... Divine Babs holds the record as the filthiest person alive?
The filthiest person alive.
And there's a couple in New York, I believe it is, that have decided they want the title.
Yep.
So there is an actual sanctioned who can be the worst person.
Yep.
And
it's clearly Divine, though.
Wow,
but come on. And the mum's in a playpen sitting there calling out for eggs.
I will never eat eggs.
Yeah.
After watching this film. I've got to say, though, watching this film... I visited on the weekend, waiting for the kids to go to bed and everything.
Don't let the kids watch that.
I had to keep looking up when it was made, because if you subjectively made a list of what is in this film, it would never, ever get made, even as an independent film, I don't think now. Whereas it built a career of a man.
Yet again, another one of the animal cruelty. I've had a lot of animal cruelty films, which is really strange. But anyway...
Are you going to get real vegan about it and be like, because of all the eggs?
No. The chicken actually died in that scene.
Yes.
And it's one of the only animals that's ever actually been killed on purpose for a film. Which is kind of something notable, I guess, in a sense. If they really want to make grotesque, shock film cinema like he did, John Waters, he really committed to it. Yeah. And, I don't know. The part with the bird is the word at the party. There's just stuff in there that is just really gross.
My first time seeing this, I was in Melbourne playing a show in a place called the Green Room, and they had televisions
Jon
around.
Stewart and some Nazis?
No, there was like TVs all around like the sort of the walls and stuff like that, and we started playing, and then halfway through they started playing Pink Flamingos. So I was surrounded on like about 7 TVs by Pink Flamingos, and never seeing this movie before. You sort of I forgot. I was just like, what is going on? And I'm playing it. I'm trying to play the show. It's like, then we're back home and watch it properly. And like,
it's crazy. There's even like
I couldn't imagine that.
Incest
it's the kind
is in there
of
as well and everything.
it's a hit list of the hot topics.
Yeah,
it's the kind of film that is much like, I remember the first time I ever saw, after rites of passages, trying different things as a young man.
Yeah.
Going home in the middle of the night and seeing my first Tool music video while on certain substances.
Yeah.
And there was no way of giving it context that wasn't like just terrifying. That's how I feel like your version of watching Pink Flamingos, because you'd be getting bits and pieces but no context and just be like, what is this?
I knew Divine. And I knew like lots of stuff. And I was like, I've never actually seen the context of what this is. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
But there isn't really any context to it. Like, it's equally as what's the word? Surreal, I guess, to watch.
Do you
Good
like
soundtrack though?
Do you like John Waters' other stuff?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Definitely.
Love Serial Mum.
Yeah, that's a great movie. That was actually the first John Waters film I ever saw.
It's usually the gateway one. I really like Dirty Shame. It doesn't get a lot of
with Selma Blair.
Pecker. You know that one as well.
Yeah, Pecker's good.
Yeah.
With Edward Furlong.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention because I recently saw it about 2 weeks ago. It was on free-to-air television. And I've quite often gone on about the Chipmunks Disney films because I was a massive fan of David Cross's stand-up in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was the funniest person alive.
Sorry.
And it was so offensive, and it, couldn't be further from the mainstream. To then see him play the character of Uncle... I can't think of what his name is, but playing the uncle in the Chipmunks, I always think of, like, someone hasn't done their homework with what he used to say.
Yep.
They're now putting him in thing. But this joke is one that's in the Chipmunks 3, which is... Road Chip. So here's
Love
a
it.
little bit of... This is Alvin eating like a pig on the plane.
Oh my lord!
That is a cameo by John Waters in a kids' film. Problem number 1. Problem number 2 being that Alvin from the kids series Alvin and the Chipmunks has seen and references Pink Flamingos in a G-rated film.
Wow.
That was magic.
Jamie has brought to my attention, he's got listens in online. He recently did a movie called Kitty Flamingos where he gets child actors to perform a kid-friendly table read of...
oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
How did you not bring this to our attention?
There's also a Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race episode where they do John Waters the musical, and they've got a scene from like Female Trouble where the Cha-Cha Heels part. I don't know if you guys actually have known that film.
No.
And then there's the Eggs one.
Yep.
And the songs are like quite catchy and funny that it's like it almost kind of works.
Nice.
And John Waters is one of the judges on that episode, but yeah.
I loved his cameo in The Lonely Island's The Creep, because basically they're describing his visual style. He's in the music video, and right at the end, because they describe how to be a creep, and right at the end, John Waters comes on the screen and says, "Don't forget to smile." He's really grasped who he is in Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many of the independent actors kind of throw their hat into the ring of like studio films and then just ride the wave and do, become a product of the industry.
The Adam Sandlers.
Whereas from day one, John Waters has been John Waters.
Yep.
He plays the game when he has to, but he never loses that he's John Waters.
Yeah.
And I love seeing he pops up in the weirdest things. Obviously, he's very inspired by like the art movement of like Dadaism, so it's all that deliberately shocking for the sake of entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
A big advocate for no censorship, which Exhibit A being Pink Flamingo. But honestly, I love, like, he even used to show up in episodes of Jackass all the time, and just any kind of
shocking
anything right of centre that was made it big, he was quite happy to be a part of, which is pretty cool. And yeah, you should definitely check out. Start with his studio films, because I'd really like people.
Don't start with Pink Flamingos.
I'd really like people lulled into a sense of security before seeing this film, because damn, It is a messed up
Serial
film.
Mum or Hairspray, and he actually directed the remake of Hairspray as well.
Okay.
Yeah, with John Travolta playing the part that Divine played.
Ricky Lake. No, wasn't it?
Ricky Lake was, she was Tracy Turnblad.
Good times. So that
a
is
lot of alliterated names in John Waters'
yeah.
films. Yeah.
much like other films I watch. Having a look, because I watch lots of comic book films is what I meant, not porn. Just having a look, you had a list of honourable mentions that you wanted to make your way through to prove that you're not just a product of this 10 films.
Yeah.
So we'll just quickly run through.
And they're probably all just weird and sick in a different way.
So you said you're a massive fan of Heston, as you did with Apes, but you loved Omega Man, Soylent Green, and Beneath the Planet of the Apes, particularly. Big fan of the 1983 series of V, which I absolutely love.
Love it.
I even love the Scott Wolf reimagining.
Yep, same. Yeah.
You could tell when the money ran out though, because it was like kind of a run to the finish. But
Actually, you asked me if I still had any VCR tapes.
Yeah.
I have that on tape.
Oh, nice.
Yep, that's the only tape that I still have.
Nice.
V.
You also said you loved all of John Waters' studio films, being Hairspray, Crybaby, Serial Mum. 1994, the fantastic film that is Blank Check.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it.
That
Love
is
this
a
film.
good movie.
Revisit it recently with my kids. Don't take count of how much... yeah, they loved it.
Good, yeah.
But my oldest son's like, you wouldn't get any of this stuff for $1 million. Like, he's got a roller coaster. The thing that to this day made my childhood a failure is that I didn't have a child scale Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Like, he's driving around in that white Lamborghini that's small enough for a kid to drive.
And he's got there's always a character that's like John Candy could have been that character in all the 90s films where like the driver. There's all those characters are in all those films.
All 90s family
like an
films.
archetypal 90s.
They picked their characters. They either wanted like a Rick Moranis, like Steve Martin or John Candy. They wrote that part, then they wrote this part, made the film and just got who they could to fill those holes.
Same with, like there's always a Newman type character in a lot of them as well. Yeah.
A lot of the times it was Wayne Knight.
Or the revolting blob guy that looks a lot like him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who I would play if there was if I was in movies.
We got Ginger Newman here.
Now that Philip Seymour's gone. And your actual quality films that you love being Aliens, never heard of it. What's that about? Is that a Mac and Me spin-off?
It's a heartwarming tale of womanhood.
Cats. How about a cat lady? Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Love that movie.
So it's about breakfast?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Hopefully makes it big. That's a new one, yeah? Is that on like Indiegogo? Trying to raise it?
It is. It's a
Kickstarter film.
Yeah.
Now you had The Orphanage. I'm not going to pronounce it the other way because I'm a bogan.
Love The Orphanage.
What is it about?
It's a Spanish film about an orphanage.
Is Antonio Banderas in it?
No. It's a woman who was raised in an orphanage.
Paul. Shut up.
She, it's the same guy who made Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
What's his name?
I can't remember. Alfonso
Guillermo del Toro.
I don't know, whatever.
Guillermo.
You did really well.
And he did the...
Guillermo. There's no L. Guillermo.
Del Toro.
Del Toro. The Dells.
Dello.
Desi. Anyway, she grew up in an orphanage, and then she buys that same orphanage, and her son starts seeing these imaginary friends, and he tells her to come and see one, and she doesn't, and then he goes missing, and it's about her trying to find her son, but then uncovering this whole other sort of like what seems like a really creepy mystery revolving around these imaginary
Did the others rip this off? The Nicole Kidman film?
Maybe.
Because it sounds very...
But it's like it starts to look like it's some creepy haunted house film, but it starts to become like really sweet, and the end is like got this funny little twist that's almost like
so
beautiful.
Del Toro ending,
yeah,
basically.
It's really good. It's just good.
Now, the two films Paul really wanted to hit on, they're both feel-good hits of the summer. We're talking about Seven and Silence of the Lambs.
Yep.
Basically, anyone that loves Goodbye Horses can thank this film. Why'd you pick these films?
Seven is just...
Were you trying to get on a list where you get monitored? Is that why you picked all these things?
I think Seven's the prototype thriller film of the 90s and 2000s.
It's just really well thought out.
I think Seven had a huge thing to do with the colour grading of all of the films that followed. Everything became washed out and grey.
Yeah, gritty.
If you were going to have like a David Fisher-esque 3. I loved Copycat as well, which was pretty much a copycat of this film to a degree.
But
It's good.
I've
And
watched this
Kevin
film.
Spacey wasn't even acting in that movie.
Well, it turns out he wasn't. Yeah, no, it's such a great film. And I really like, if you've seen the making of, in John Doe's apartment.
Yep.
Every one
That's
of those
all
books
real. Yep.
was filled
It was
top
all
to bottom.
totally filled.
That's like
That's
Jared Leto in
commitment,
Suicide
man.
Squad,
Yep.
where it's like, it's not going to matter.
Pip broke his wrist.
Yeah,
right.
he did,
So, like,
and they just let it happen in
There's
the film.
There's a bit where you can see he's in the cop station at the desk, and he's got his arm in plaster, but he's just like covered up with like one of his jackets. But you can actually see like his son's like purple. It's just it's really good. I've watched that film way too many times.
Every time I watch that, I get a bit more deeper analysing it than I did the last time.
Yeah.
A film that can do that is really incredible.
The interrogation scene really gets me now. Like
Yeah.
when they got the dude from the sex club, and it's just like
That is horrible, isn't it? Yeah.
Just, every time I watched it, I was like, because I used to, like clock out, and I go get a drink of that bit, and then I finally watched it again. I'm like, I don't like that bit.
I remember seeing it I think the first time I ever saw it was maybe on TV, and it was a little bit censored, and they didn't actually show that Polaroid.
Right.
And I was always a bit confused as to what actually happened in that part.
Yeah.
And then when I saw it like the uncut,
So
And
yeah.
you know the way, those guys online that are quite prevalent in modern day tragedies where they're like, I wouldn't let that happen to me whenever something bad would happen.
Yeah.
I'd take the gun over the eating in that part.
Yep.
I'd pick the gun.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I'm not going to eat this. Unless it was K-fry.
That's because you're
then
not-
I'd be like, put the gun away. You're getting in the way of my K-fry.
The day they open up a KFC buffet,
Ladies
it's
and
going to
gentlemen.
be like Homer at the
I will be
Flying Dutchman.
all 7 sins of that
Lust.
What's he doing with the bucket?
day. Gluttony ain't got nothing. They're just going to have 8 sins. One's going to be Dave. Meat sweats.
The meats.
That will be
The
the 8th
wheezing
sin.
breathing. He's
Meat
actually
sweats.
sweating nuggets.
Well, we are pretty much out of time. So why don't you tell us all about what you've got coming up?
What do I have coming up?
You've got an exhibition that's like been the whole focus of your life at the moment. Maybe that.
I better remember to go to that.
Yes.
No,
Everyone should.
I spent all day today setting up the pictures. So I have hung them and gotten them all in the right spots and everything. And it's opening night is Wednesday, 5:30 onwards.
Is it running for one night only, or like?
It will be open for a month during the Fringe.
Okay, cool.
Which is really awesome. And I've ticked a lot of boxes as an artist to have the opportunity to be able to do this, I think. Really still surprised, to be honest.
Excellent.
So I've got my very own first solo exhibition running for Fringe. Opening night is this Wednesday, Adelaide themed.
You got a fruit choc.
Mr. Fruit Choc.
Yeah, you got.
You got
frog
wine,
cakes.
you got beer, you got frog cakes, you got Kytons, Lamingtons, you got men's.
Are you going to somehow get someone to punch you in Hindley Street? Is that like going to be part of it, or is
Part
that
of the
next
experience,
one? Next
yeah.
one, they walk you down Hindley, punch you in the back of the head, and then take you back.
It's the other side of Adelaide that you don't know.
That's it.
Dark Adelaide.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Did you watch that 3-part series about the Dark Adelaide?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's Sean,
City of Evil.
Sean
Fuster, yeah.
Yep.
Good time.
Let's end on that.
Where can people check out your work other than the exhibition?
If you jump on Instagram, KCC_illustration. There's a Facebook page, KCC Illustration.
You know what? To make it easy, go to Shit Adelaide.
Yeah,
and
you'll find it
one
on
of your
Shit Adelaide
posts
Instagram.
and head on over that.
Yeah, so I don't use my last name because it's... For a long time, it was like a dirty word that you couldn't put on a lot of usernames and email addresses.